How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the I Am Zain film class. I am your host, Zain. Today we're gonna be tackling something every filmmaker should master: creating depth in your shots. Whether you're shooting a short film, a vlog, or even something experimental with photography, adding depth can create your visual pop. So let's jump in. Tip number 1, build depth by working with your foreground, midground, and background. Think of a frame as a 3D space. For example, you can place your subject in the midground while the foreground has an object like a plant in front. And then you could have maybe some lights or some cool things in the background, just so that way you can have some separation. It adds a layer to the shot and it makes it instantly look cinematic. In this example, you have the subject in the midground and then you have something in the foreground and in the background. And you want to kind of sandwich your subject in the middle so that way it creates a bit of depth so it doesn't look so flat. And I have a question for you. What's the most creative way you use layers in your shots? Drop it in the comments below. Tip number 2, use practical lights to create dimension. Light isn't just about illumination, it's about telling a story. Shadows can create a bit of mystery, while highlights can emphasize your subject. Think of a desk lamp lighting up your actor's face while casting a shadow across the room. It's a small touch that makes a big impact. Tip number 3, block out the space. Create layers with characters and props. For instance, place a chair slightly in front of your subject or have another character move through the frame. This creates a sense of motion and depth. So what you can do, for example, you can have the subject sitting on a chair and then you can have people just walking in front of the camera. We don't need to see their face. And then you can have people walking behind them. It creates more motion when you're trying to separate your subject from everything else instead of it being static of like a tree or something else in the background. That's another way to create a bit of motion. Tip number 4, shoot through objects like windows, mirrors, or even doorways to add an extra layer of interest. This technique gives your audience a peek into your world, making the frame feel more immersive. And that's it for today's class. Remember, depth of field isn't about being technical. It's about pulling your audience into the world. So try these tips and let me know how they work for you. Before we head out, I want to give a really special shout out to Hypnotica Studios. I really love Sean's work. He's inspired me along the years of me knowing him. He is so creative and innovative on how he even gets his shots, and I really want to give him a really special shout out. Please check out his Instagram, Hypnotica Studios. You can check him out on Instagram. He organizes photography workshop for photographers in Jersey and in New York. You know, you'll definitely be inspired. I promise you that. On that note, thanks for joining me on I Am Zain film class. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tips and tricks. And I will see you next week.